Hello and welcome to Schoolscape Premier 2021. We're so excited to be here and have got to today with great anticipation of what's going to be a wonderful event this week. So there's so much to look forward to. I won't spoil the excitement, Pete can get into that, but this morning we had a phenomenal session. Some of you would have been on that session, and yeah, just enjoying having schools, educators, headmasters, businesses, solutions, all come together, connect and engage. And yeah, I think in our heart, we kind of hold education and then we say, okay, how do we move this forward? And the only way we see that done is that we all collaborate and work together. And so this is a platform we hope this week that will bring you together, will foster connection, will move your schools forward, will help you find solutions and suppliers that will take your hand and do so more effectively or with more ease. And we also hope that if you're a teacher here today and headmaster, that you'll just be so inspired by the stories, inspired by hearing success stories, and that you wouldn't feel like, oh, we're laboring alone in this. You're not alone, we're here together, and we're so excited for what the next few days hold.
Brilliant.
You want to give us an overview?
Awesome. So welcome to the Hoover Conference platform. You'll see on your right, there is a chat bar, and I see we've already had about 20 hellos, so please say hello, please say where you are from. You'll also see there is a Q&A tab. Now, in the morning session, we got so many questions, and what was incredible is people in the audience started responding and answering those, so please do that. And then please note also on your left of your screen, if you're on the web version or on your home screen on the mobile, you will see there's exhibitor profiles and there are discussion topics. So please jump in. Our aim with this event is really to share with each other and to learn from each other. 99% of the topics are very serious and awesome. One of them is should pineapple be allowed on pizza? But we will get back to that one more now because that one made me really laugh, and some good debate.
The answer should be no. It should always be no, and it should be no, and bananas state exclusion. Cannot have banana on pizza. There we go.
We'll get back to this. But a quick overview of today, we're going to invite shortly one of our favorite sponsors. The event is free because of incredible sponsors. So they're going to share for about 5 to 8 minutes. And thereafter, Naidoo and Matthew Haynes are going to be our teachers that are going to be presenting live. After that, we've got some industry experts that are just going to be sharing some real helpful stuff. And then right at the end of the day, I'm excited. We've got Rion Truter. If you've never seen Rion, he's going to do 10 minutes of inspiration, and it's his birthday today.
And it's his birthday.
So it's going to be exciting. So Ash, please invite Sharon.
Amazing. So Sharon is from Snaplify. Snaplify is like Pete said, one of our favorite suppliers working in the schools market, both in South Africa, and they're South African going overseas, and we're just so proud of them, and we really love working with them in their heart for education. So Sharon, you can turn your video on. We're excited, Sharon, to have you here today. And yeah, I mean, Sharon, I have lost your question in my head. I feel like I wish we were not live and I could just shout cut to the director, but I can't do that. So how does Snaplify support teachers in schools? So simple, but so important. Sharon, over to you.
Thanks so much, Ashley and Peter. Yeah, as you mentioned, I'm from Snaplify, and really, I think that's an incredibly important question, especially now where schools are facing so many challenges with this sort of rapid shift to hybrid learning and to coping with COVID and all the uncertainty and the regulations that brings. But for us at Snaplify, really supporting teachers is the driving force behind absolutely everything that we do. So, whether it's bringing you curriculum-aligned content or innovative technology, we're wanting to do that together in one place to really facilitate and streamline a lot of the work that teachers need to do. Because we all know that they're busy doing this critical and very difficult work of equipping our students with 21st century skills. So by ensuring access to high quality materials, by empowering them to use data to better inform their decisions and identify gaps in learning, that's how we're able to best support our teachers. And all the tools we build, they're not only to provide access to sort of prescribed textbooks, but also to help teachers foster curiosity in students, encourage wider reading through our very easy to use digital library, and the usage of interactive content, and then also to share your videos and your audio content with your school, with your students. But I must just say that the library also comes with 50,000 free books, which is a great place for any school to start if they haven't started on a digital journey. And then, one of the things that's really important for us is to make sure that teachers also have access to the resources that they need, whether that's teaching materials or inspirational tips and ideas. I think a lot of the people in the audience might already be familiar with Unis or the Teacher magazine. We're really proud to have them as part of the Snapify family. But over the years, Teacher has actually collated more than 15,000 original teacher-created resources for classroom activities. That's everything from lesson plans, homework, assignments, and so forth. And thousands of these are also free. But those that aren't really go a long way to support our teachers for their great ideas and their classroom inspiration. And so Teacher really creates the space for teachers to access and sell their own created resources. They can then take these resources and share them with their students through the Snapify Engage e-learning platform as well. And through this, we've created this community of teachers from various channels, from Facebook to online to our Teacher magazine. So now as a school, you have the ability to access this really broad teacher community and use this to recruit your own teachers through our teacher jobs portal. It's like a LinkedIn for teachers. Essentially, all of these tools that we've built, they're designed to be accessible, to be flexible. We know teachers have a huge workload and they also spend a lot of time on admin. So it's really important to us that we're not adding to this workload, we're not creating extra admin, but we're actually helping teachers streamline their day-to-day tasks to find useful, affordable digital teaching aids all in one place. And the tools really focus on self-service. We believe this gives you more control as a school. It reduces your manual work, and I think that ultimately just saves you valuable time as well. A great example is if you look at your annual textbook orders. A great way to save time on this is to use the Snapify Engage platform. You can have everything set up in less than 3 hours, and then students get access to their e-textbooks immediately. And if you're also doing hard copy books at the school, you can actually order your hard copy and your digital books all in one platform too. So from the start of the year, parents have until the 31st of January to make their payments. And this has been incredibly helpful for parents. We know that they're balancing budgets at the beginning of the year. There's a lot of start of year expenses that they need to navigate. And so, really giving them that breathing room was important for us. And so it really comes down to the school strategy, whether they are, purchasing content for their students or whether parents are purchasing content, everything happens through this one space. But I think essentially, technology is at that point now where we're not simply enhancing the way we teach, we're actually informing the way we teach. So tools that can help you monitor and evaluate your students, develop strategic interventions that can then transform your classroom, or integrated reading assessment technology that can, reward your students' reading and empower your teachers with the data that they need to sort of track progress and address literacy gaps. And, analytics and knowing which textbooks are being used, which content is most engaging. These things are really important for helping schools inform their textbook purchasing for the next year. But also, I think identifying where we can have interventions in our students' learning and even preparing for those parent-teacher meetings. Data really gives you so much that you can't do with just a static hard copy book. And I think lastly, just one more point is for us, the thing that we take incredibly seriously is the privacy and the data protection as well, because I think in this digital age, it's critical that children are not only taught the skills to navigate the internet safely, and that we also ensure their data privacy is protected. And, that means that whether a school is registering with us or, they're using sign-in through our integrations with third parties like Google or Microsoft, or they're using secure payment facilities, absolutely everything we've built has education in mind. And that means that, schools can rest easy knowing that we've got that covered as well. We've got everything covered, including that aspect of it. And security is definitely one of those things. So I'm not sure that answers your question, Ashley. I hope it does. But if there's other questions, I'm happy to take them as well.
I hear you speaking, and all I can think is everyone says about parenting that it takes a village, but in education it really does take a village. To be a teacher, you need your village that surrounds you, and I feel like Snaplify is creating that kind of platform that it's a community and it's a village, and we can educate together, and it's an incredible platform, and how you've integrated all these, and that it's been an incredibly strategic move in that on your side, and that kind of teacher support is phenomenal. I saw a comment by a teacher that said your free resources during COVID and lockdown were a lifesaver, and what I love is that you were established and you were credible and you were there and you took on the challenge. So I think a huge well done, and a huge well done from everyone that took on that challenge. Sharon, I want to ask you just one question quickly would be is if there was sort of one aspect that made Snaplify sort of stand apart through this COVID time, and then looking forward now, the things you've learned, what is that thing? What is it that you are saying to teachers, take hold of this, use it because you know it's going to benefit you?
And so while you're doing that, we're just going to invite your colleague who's hosting the next session to start coming on. But sorry, Sharon, you've got 30 seconds, so let us know.
Not a problem. I think, where we stand out is really in our versatility and our flexibility. So schools have different needs. There are different points in their journey, and we're really committed to working with the school to understand exactly what it is that they need and how our tools can support them in that journey. So, really the best place to start is to reach out to us, and we'll work with the school, establish their needs, see how we can best support them. And if anybody wants to connect with me after the session, they can do so in the chat. Otherwise, we also have a giveaway on our booth. We're giving away a starter, I think about 3,000 Rand, just to help schools buy some extra content for a library as well. Or you can pop me an email at education@snaplify.com. But I think, really anything you need, we've got it. And we've also got the flexibility and the versatility to assist you in your specific journey.
Awesome. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you for your time. And thank you to Snaplify for all you're doing in education and for educators. Jean, the man behind Ornies, Ornies Snaplify. Welcome, Jean.
Brilliant. So everyone, we now got 2 speakers that are lined up, but what we thought would be really cool is not many people know the face behind Ornies Online and Teacher, and that is Jean from Nederland, and he's actually going to host our next set of speakers. Jean presently works with the Snaplify team, so he's made a shift there, but he's a well-known face in the education industry. So Jean, over to you to host our 2 incredible speakers.
Thank you. I'm so excited. It's like, I love speaking to teachers and hearing what they're doing in real life. So not being in the classroom anymore is sad sometimes, but today we've got Mala Naidoo, and Mala is going to speak about STEM, about robotics, and I'm going to give you an opportunity to quickly give an introduction of yourself. Welcome, Mala.
Hi, hi everyone. My name is Mala Naidoo. I'm an educator at Rallim in Cape Town, and I'm really excited to be presenting today. So thank you so much to Schoolscape and the organizers for this opportunity. and I'm really happy to share my ideas with you. How long do I have, Jean?
You have 20 minutes.
Okay, cool. Can I start?
Yes,
Yes,
you're
we're running, just this is the voice in the background. We're running a little bit late, so but you've got 20 minutes, Marla. Thank you.
Okay, cool. All right, so hoping you can see my presentation. We all good to go?
Yes.
Good to go.
Okay, cool. So you know who I am, and I just have to say that I work with the most incredible subjects, mathematics and robotics, well, robotics and coding. And I find that just working with those, it allows me endless opportunities to actually blend my teaching, to integrate, and to get the kids excited. I mean, half my battle is won because I'm teaching robotics, so that's super cool. Okay. Have you ever thought about how robotics and coding features through so many aspects of our environment and in the world at large? Robotics and coding plays a major role in transportation, production, industries, science and space exploration, banking, medicine, and many more areas. So why not use this opportunity to blend learning at school by bringing all these applications to life in the classroom? Children love mysteries, puzzles, solving cryptic problems, cracking combination codes, and find the prospect of escape rooms quite daunting. So what better way to teach coding than to bring in cryptography, which involves encoding messages for someone else to decode? So sit back and let your imagination run wild as I invite you to explore with me cryptography and its potential within the world of mathematics and robotics. To start off with, I'd like to focus on 4 questions. These are, why was it an excellent idea for me to integrate mathematics, robotics, and coding into our exploration of cryptography? What did students achieve in the lesson? How did I integrate these subjects? And what technology was used? But before I delve into each of these questions, let me give you some context by sharing the project missions with you. So we had super cool project missions that were actually spy missions, and I'll let you in on it now. So 2 project missions were set up, with each one having multiple challenges and many fun tasks that needed to be completed. Both projects involved top secret missions where Agent X and Agent Z had to actually engage in finding a secret item. So basically, Agent X had to hide the secret item, and Agent Z had to find it. And obviously, this had to be done in such a way that it was not intercepted by the wrong person. Both projects presented the opportunity to flip the classroom. Students were involved with solving puzzles and codes based on techniques of encryption, and they learned about these in videos and through researching with links and that from websites. So their responses were journalized through voice notes and voice recordings of their collaborative answers and code test runs. There was an immense amount of learning taking place while they were engaged, and they were solving problems at the same time, but most importantly, they were having a whole lot of fun. So why was it an excellent idea to integrate maths, robotics, and coding into our exploration of cryptography? The topic cryptography provided ample opportunity for creativity and integration. There were many possibilities and scenarios, but most importantly, it was a whole lot of fun. It was fun for students because they had an exciting topic that involved spy missions with agents who are trying to send important messages to each other. I mean, who doesn't want to get involved in something like that? It was also relevant because the scenario was relevant and it was a real world situation. Many spheres of our lives include security and cryptography, ranging from banking, emails, browsing the web, digital commerce, digital cash, and so on. It also created a context within a scenario, which gave students a context to learn mathematics in terms of how it actually fits into real life. And I think we'll all agree that this is really more important than actually just learning from a textbook. And lastly, holistic learning completely involved invoking their minds, their logic, opening up their imagination, and actually getting them to experience this whole thing as if they were the spies. So what did students achieve in this lesson? Because they worked in a team, they learned about teamwork and collaboration, which is a real important skill to have. They also learned to be patient and tolerant with each other. They learned to share tasks. They learned to share their expertise with each other, and they gave each other a chance to actually, whoever was best equipped to solve a certain problem, they featured a little bit more whilst they were sharing the activity at the same time. They researched and they looked at cryptography in the past. How was it used? They looked at and envisioned cryptography in the future. They also studied different crypto techniques like Caesar cipher, RSA technique, and they also looked at Morse code. In terms of coding, their skills with the EV3 robot was enhanced. They learned how to use a sphero bolt and how to manipulate angles in that. Problem solving was key in all of these experiences. With regard to maths, they had to encounter prime numbers and prime factors. And this formed an important part, as I'll explain to you in the next slide, in terms of working with a specific encryption technique. They also learned how to encrypt something and how to decrypt using a few techniques. How did I integrate these subjects? So when it comes to maths, prime numbers were used in one of the encryption techniques I mentioned, and that is the RSA technique. So they had to engage with prime numbers and composite numbers. They had to work with the definition. They had to look at examples and also problem solving involving these concepts. With regard to the shifting techniques, these required addition and subtraction as well as variables to be used, and they needed to find the product in order to encode certain words. With maths and coding, the link there was, well, there are many links, but to mention one, they had to manipulate the angle turns, and you'll see now how relevant that was in terms of the activity. They had to know exactly how to manipulate the sphero to turn in the direction that they wanted it to be in. And then with coding the EV3 and spheros, they used the EV3 robot to simulate the Morse code sound, which is quite incredible. And they used the sphero to turn, pause, blink, and there was decision making that was also involved there. Right, let's look at what Project 2 entailed. Agent X had to hide an artifact at the Rallim school building, and then needed to use cryptography to let Agent Z know where the artifact was hidden without it being intercepted. There were two challenges in this project. Students had to learn and master two methods of cryptography. These were ciphertext and Morse code, and they had to know how it works. So they needed to code the ciphertext message using the sphero bolt, as well as code the EV3 to represent the Morse code sound. Both types of movements needed to be captured on video, and these were potentially sent to Agent Z to actually watch and then decrypt the messages. Let's look at the steps that were involved in encoding and decoding the messages. So students had a lot of fun creating the ciphertext wheel. They used colored cardboard where they created two circles of different radii. Now herein you can already see concepts of radii, circumference came in very naturally. It didn't have to be too deliberate. It came in, so there's incidental learning happening. The smaller circle was then placed over the bigger circle, and then a paperclip was inserted through the center, holding both the circles in place and enabling you to move one of the circles when needed. So once the ciphertext wheel was created, they needed to decide what the plain text message was. After creating the plain text message, which was a message in English that needed to be sent to Agent Z, they had to shift the inner circle either forwards or backwards to encode the message. Once they had done that, they created the encoded message, and you can see with the pictures, shifting of the circles, writing down what the code actually is. So those were activities that were directly worked with. Then the message had to be sent via video transmission. So that activity still to come. So if we look at how a simple ciphertext works, assume the plain text message is that the artifact is hidden under the staircase, and assume that a shift by 3 right was used. If you look at the circles to the right-hand side, you'll see that the inner circle needed to be shifted, and because it was 3 places, the A was then replaced by a D, the B was replaced by an E, C by an F, and so on. So in this way, the ciphertext message, which originally started off being under the staircase, looked something like XQGHU for under, and then WKH for the. Now, I will leave it to you to try and figure out what staircase would be, keeping in mind that if you're shifting 3 places to the right, every letter 3 places to the right represented the original letter. Okay, so you can use a ciphertext wheel to work on that. All right, so while you're working on that, I'm just going to go on to the next slide. So if you look at the pictures, you'll see that the letters of the alphabet were laid out in different panels. So I had a number of panels where the letters A to Z were laid out for a team of 2 people, 2 students. Students then needed to program their Sphero to move over the encoded letters. So remember, they used the ciphertext already to create the encoded message. Now they needed to use the Sphero to actually code where it landed on. So it was a simple case of moving to a letter, pausing when you reached the letter that was what was needed, and then blink. Once the Sphero had completed all the letters that were intended, a video was made, and this was sent through to Agent Z. All right, so if I could just reveal quickly, staircase was actually VWDLUFDVH. Sounds crazy, but it works. Okay, so how then did Agent Z know what the message actually was? Because here was the Sphero moving around, stopping on letters, blinking. So how did it actually work? Agent Z needed to watch the video. Then Agent Z needed to make a note of where the letters, which letters the Sphero paused at and blinked. Agent Z needed to then decrypt through shifting the inner circle backwards, because remember, moving forwards encoded, so moving backwards would have to be used to decode. And then if this was interpreted correctly, Agent Z would then have figured out where exactly the artifact was hidden. So if you look to the left of the wall, you'll notice sample Sphero code that was used. And roll 0 degrees, that's basically directing the Sphero on which way to actually move. And speed was also important because remember, with anything, when it comes to robotics, cars, whatever it is, if you're going too fast, you're going to have a problem stopping or turning. So students actually learned that they needed to control the Sphero in order to be able to stop when intended, turn in the correct direction, and then move at the speed forward in order to reach whichever letter was intended. All right, so here's just a small video showing you an attempt by a team. All right, so lots of trial and error there, moving the Sphero, stopping at a letter, pausing, then blinking, because it's got to be a deliberate movement on a letter because that process had to be recorded. Right, looking at challenge 2, the same sort of thing, but this time Morse code had to be used. If you look towards the center of the screen, you'll see International Morse code is represented by dots and dashes, where each letter has or is represented by dots and dashes. Like, for example, the letter A is represented by a dot and a dash. B by a dash and 3 dots. C is a dash, dot, dash, dot. So students had that template to use when they had created the message. So if we look quickly at the process, they had to decide what the plain text message is. They had to use the Morse code template with the dots and dashes to create the message. And they did this by substituting the letters with dots and dashes according to what the template for the letter was. Then they had to code the EV3 robot to transmit the Morse code, but as sound. And then they recorded the video. So if we look at creating a Morse code message, and assuming the plain text message or the English message to be sent was under the staircase, you can see how difficult it actually is to figure out unless you actually use the template. So if we're looking at the letter U, it's actually 2 dots and a dash. A double / needed to be used as a letter separator, because otherwise it would all just be jumbled and you wouldn't know which was which, basically. An N was represented by a dash and a dot, and then a separator again, and so on. So under the staircase was created. So how did the EV3 robot actually fit into all of this? Right, so here's a picture of an EV3 robot. So basically what needed to happen here is the team had to code the EV3 robot using sounds, where a dot represented a short sound, maybe 1 second of sound on a tone or some sort of a beep, and a dash was represented by 3 seconds. So that it was clearly detectable by the person who was watching the video and who knew what to actually look for. What did Agent Z need to do? Agent Z needed to watch the video, listen for the sounds, make a note of whether the sound was long or short, map the dots and dashes to the corresponding letters, and if interpreted correctly, Agent Z then figured out where the artifact was hidden. Here's what it sounded like. Okay, so that was pretty cool if you look at the end product in terms of watching the video and figuring out how this actually worked. What technology was used? We used an EV3 robot to simulate the Morse code sound. We used the EV3 Mindstorms app, which shows you here on an iPad. We use code.org's platform, which is absolutely excellent when it comes to teaching coding. There are a multitude of different types of applications that can be used there. This one specifically is used for shifting letters to the right or left. And all the teams needed to do was to type in their letter in the blue section to the left and choose what type of shift they wanted. Was it a right 3 or 5 places? Was it a left 3 or 5 places, or whichever number? And it would actually give them the encoded message, and they were ready to actually figure out what to do next. We also use the Sphero and the Sphero Edu app. Okay, so after actually doing this lesson, which lasted me, I think about maybe 6 individual lessons, I thought about it a bit more, and I realized there were so many other things that I actually could have done to add on to it, to make the experience a little bit more wow. I could have used virtual reality. I could have, as part of the SPY mission, so just by using virtual reality to create the scenario with the Google Cardboard or the glasses to show them maybe a scene and build that in somehow into the whole experience. Using MergeCube is excellent, as well as quizzes could have built in there if we had a little bit more time. The point I'm trying to make here is that the possibilities are actually endless. So every opportunity needs to be made or created so that that fun and wow experience is actually there for the kids. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you so much. That was amazing. And I think my mind is a bit blown. You know that meme where it's the woman with like the calculations in front of her and like looking around. That's how I'm feeling at the moment. But I'm sure people are inspired. And I think just to stick to time, maybe we can respond in the chat afterwards to some of the questions. And if that's okay with you, there were two questions there, and also a lovely comment on how blown away Adrian is by this excellent project. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Okay, cool. So up next, we've got Matthew Haynes. Matthew, I've followed for a very long time, also from tech teachers. Not that I ever taught computer applications technology, but I've known about his blog for years. So he's also a familiar face in the education industry and across the board. So welcome, Matthew, and please tell us a bit more about what you're going to chat about today, and introduce yourself a little bit better if I didn't do a good job. So.
Oh no, you did great, John. Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yes.
Oh, awesome. Okay, I was hoping everything would work. So I'm glad it's working. Cool.
Okay.
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll introduce myself in my presentation, and if anybody wants to know anything, they can chat to me. And yes, I have no idea who's all out there and who's watching. So cheers to you all. It's water, I promise. Okay, right. So welcome. I'm at the Schoolscape studios in Cape Town. As you can see, they've invited me and they flew me down first class. And here I am. No, they not really, but it would, maybe next time, guys. Hey, that'd be nice. Okay, so hold on, I've got to get my presentation ready. Okay, there we go. So what I thought I would, I was asked literally yesterday to talk. So yes, good luck to you guys and good luck to me. So here we go. I was thinking of a funky presentation title, and I thought I'd call it "How I Cloned Myself and Got My Learners to Teach Themselves." And I realized cloning is illegal. So I didn't actually clone myself, but I mean, you'll see what I mean. Right, so this is me. My name is Matthew Haynes. That is what I look like, I promise. I don't have an avatar that is AI driven just yet. I am working on one. Where am I? I'm in South Africa. What do I do? I am a computer applications technology teacher. That's what I do. I've been teaching what we call CAT for quite a few years now. I'm an author. I've written a book called Digital Classroom Resource, available through Cambridge University Press. I'm a master's student. This is my final year. I will be getting my master's this year. Yes, hold on. Yes. And I'm also in charge of developing the ICT skills at my school for all the teachers and making sure that they kind of know what they're doing and they're happy with computers and can, you know, switch it on and print something and maybe even upload something to the cloud. I mean, that would be so good. All right. So moving on, we were told basically one day, listen, guys, there is no more school at school, like no more school at school. And people were like, well, why? And because there was a very, very good reason. There was a really good reason for this. That's the wrong picture. I'm going to find a better way. Anyway, we were like, what the heck is going on? And other teachers were like, no, this is terrible. And I was like, oh no, this is terrible. Actually, I wasn't like that because I'm the CAT teacher. So we were ready. Okay. So I thought, you know what? It's time to get out those tools. And you know what tools I'm talking about? Yes, you do. It's not those tools, it's these tools, the computer tools, because we knew that a time was coming when actually we needed to have a little bit more control over how we engaged with our students and how we taught, because everything was about to change, absolutely everything. So I thought, okay, I had this brainstorm and I thought, it's time I cloned myself, because what if I was able to do a whole lot of things at the same time that I couldn't do normally? And what if I took like all my tools and all my skills and all my knowledge that I had, and I just sort of plucked out the ones that I thought, okay, these are the ones we're using at school. So I've got what have I got there? I've got Teams, I've got Forms, I've got Camtasia, I've got YouTube, I've got OneNote. And I thought, well, let's just throw in the other Microsoft apps because that's what we were using as a school. And what could I do? So I'm going to show you a very quick 1-minute video on an idea that I had at the start last year. And this is what the idea looks like. I hope this comes through. Computer or something, or unzip the whole, well, what are you gonna do? Unzip the universe. Unzip the universe. Cool. And those are your functions, yeah, baby. So in a nutshell, everybody, I hope that that has helped to blah blah blah, blah 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 blah. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed that. It's not always easy to make videos, okay, just saying. So let's get down to the actual work stuff now, okay, like where I talk like big words, but I'll try not to. I don't actually know any big words, so it's fine. You guys are just fine. So why did I choose OneNote? Now, OneNote for me was the obvious choice because of where we were at as a school. However, it's also free and you don't have to buy it, okay? So I'm a teacher. I always use free stuff. I'm not going to buy stuff. Now, the nice thing about OneNote is that it integrates very, very well with Microsoft Teams, but it also integrates, and I didn't even know this till I started using it, it integrates beautifully with Google Classroom. So if you're a Google school or a Microsoft school, it's like, it's all good, man. It all works very, really well. So you can see there I am in my Teams. The next few slides are just screenshots, so bear with me, okay? I'm going to talk you through how I put this all together. So there we have my class. Here's my grade 10 class, okay? My grade 10 Computer Applications Technology class. And there's their notebook in Teams right there. Now, why did I choose OneNote? This was my idea, as you saw in the video. What if I just had like everything ready, just one huge resource, so like a digital portfolio that my students just accessed at their own pace, at their own time in class, and I just sort of worked with them. Okay, this was now post-COVID, not post-COVID. Oh, sorry about that. We're still in COVID. What I meant was when we're back at school, all right? It also worked at home as well, but we're back at school. So how do I do this? So I have here's an example where I can put in files in my notebook. I can put files. I can put links to external content. I can embed things. I can embed videos, sounds, you name it. It can all go into the notebook. So this is getting good. Then I saw, okay, cool. We can also tag things. I love tags. So I tag like everything, okay? Now, the reason I tag stuff is so, first of all, visually, my students can see like what it is they're looking at in terms of, you know, that's a lesson, that's keywords, that's a video, all of those things. But then I can also use tags to find information very quickly, like using keywords or phrases and things like that. And of course, the multimedia support. All my lessons are embedded or linked to on every single lesson page. It's beautiful. It's beautiful. Look at that. Lots of me. See the cloning? You got it? Okay. Then I can create a page or a task or an activity, and I can just send it to everybody. I can just click and say, off you go, and there it goes. It's like me handing out virtual pages, okay? Digital pages. There they go. And all my students now get a copy of the page I just sent to them. And so everything started to come together for my grade 10s last year, where I had a central access point for all my content, all my tasks, all my assessments, all my lessons. It was a complete digital portfolio, not just for me, but also for my students, because they could have access to all the work and see how they were doing along the way. I could also gauge how they were doing along the way. So this is what changed. Okay, this is what changed simply because of COVID. Okay, we had to teach from home, and I also just wanted to do something different. And I thought, you know what? Instead of me, that's me. Like, that's actually me. That's a real photo. No, it's not. That's me in the front. Instead of me being in the front doing passive learning, I'm not doing the learning, the students are doing the learning. I'm here and I'm there and I'm there. I'm engaging with the students that actually need the help. The others are great. I mean, the ones who sort of are more into the I don't know what the word is, into the thing, they just go ahead. They work at their own pace. They access the material. They fly ahead. The ones who really need help, those are the ones I can work with. Kind of makes sense. Hey, I mean, you would think a teacher should be able to do that. But if you're teaching standardized the whole time, you can never spend time with those individuals. So here's just an example of how the notebook looks. There's a page there. I'm just going to go back a bit there. There's the start page, and it tells a little bit about the notebook and a me and them and what they're going to be doing for the year. And then all their lessons are there. All the lessons planned ahead of time. The entire year is there. I give them a little overview of the subject or the category that we're in, all the skills they'll be covering. Everything is hyperlinked. They can jump around and access stuff. Whatever is hyperlinked, they can jump to it. Here we have an example of a Microsoft Word lesson. You'll see I've got the title of the lesson is there. The keywords are there for the lesson. So if they're searching for something like, oh, I remember there was a lesson on bullets, and they can type it in, and then it'll show them this is one of the lessons that cover bullets, for example. There's the video clip, which they can access via YouTube or watch it straight here in their notebook, which, by the way, can be accessed on their phone, their tablet, their laptop, desktop PC, pretty much any mobile device or any device that has Windows 10 operating on it. Hold on, I'm just going to mute my phone. Okay. Right, let's see what else we have. Oh, and any resources. Oh, I'm sorry about my phone. Are you going to edit that out? I'm sorry. Is this live? It's live, isn't it? Anyway, resources, no resources for there. And then I also link the activities as well, so they can jump from the lesson straight through to the activity. And then in the activity, they can also jump back to the lesson if they want to go over something, or jump through to the solution file. I even give them the solutions. Okay, I trust my students to a certain point. Anyway, so there you go. That's just a good example over there. And then they put their work underneath that line, and I can then see what they've done. I can open the work. It all remains in their notebook. No saving here, saving there, email this, upload this, download this. It's all in the notebook, and it automatically synchronizes online, which is so, so nice. And there I was telling you about the solutions. They can access the solution, check it with their work, contact me if they have any issues. There, I've added some resources. I can put links to stuff, PDF documents, you name it, I can put it there. Ebooks, I've put some free, those are free, okay? It's legitimate, it's free. I've put some ebooks there. There's a little space just for me, just the teacher, and I can have like all my stuff. They don't see this, just me. I have all my planning, my templates, notes, stuff that I need to maybe fix or send to them later on. Here's one of my students. So there you can see they've got a couple of sections in their notebook. There we have their learning path. So I provide a learning path, which I think is good for them to follow. They don't have to, but it's recommended. And they just kind of follow the learning path. And I've sort of established a nice way that would work for them in the best way for gathering the knowledge for computer applications technology. So that's their learning path. They tick off things as they go. All right. And then I can tag things. So if I don't see something, I've got a little tag. It's called please check. Okay, and I put a little tag there, and then they can go and do a search for the tag on please check tags. There you go. I love tags. They can do a search for any tags that say please check, and it'll bring up anything that I've tagged in their content, and then they can see what I've tagged for them to then go and fix. All right. So OneNote has enabled me to do the following. I can track my students' progress via tags. I can enable my students to literally teach themselves. That's what they're doing. And it's so awesome to see my students teaching themselves while I get to work with those that I actually need to work with. That's the beauty of this. And that's why I'm no longer standing up and just trying to move everybody at the same pace, at my pace, or, and those fall behind, they fall behind. It doesn't work like that anymore. I'm actually doing this very differently. I love it. And I can, as I've said in my last point, provide better guidance and assistance for students that need it. I'm sure that sounds good if I said it slower, but it's too late. I'm moving on. Anyway, guys, I rushed through this because I was told it was 15 minutes, and I know you were already running behind schedule. So I am done. There are my details. You can find me on matthewhaynes.online. You can tweet me on Twitter if you want to do that. That's cool. And yes, I'm available for any questions at all. And maybe I should switch off this Keanu. Sorry, Keanu. Let's just go back. There we go.
Don't switch off Keanu. It's fine.
Too late. He's gone. I killed him.
I don't know if there's any questions that came up here. Let me check.
Oh, there's a chat screen. Cool.
Yes. Let me check. No questions.
What?
I'm jumping on Matthew. The questions come through live on this side, and some of the comments have been amazing. Literally, we had one that they just said like, Schoolscape brings the most innovative speakers, and I think we really landed with our bum in the butter with you. Yesterday.
I've been trying to convince Pete for probably about a year. See, I see you on LinkedIn. You have no idea who I am. But I watched you and I'm like, this guy maybe could speak well. So okay. Thank you.
So Matthew, question. If there's a teacher out there that is nervous of using technology in the classroom.
Yes.
And they're looking to embrace it, they want to introduce it, what would you recommend as a first step?
Wow. The first step, there are so many variables here. It depends on what sort of subject they're teaching and what they want to use the technology for. If it's either for their professional development and using technology for themselves, or if it's for teaching and in a classroom. And then it depends on the school. If they have like a computer science teacher or a CAT teacher or an IT teacher, to start approaching them for the basics. Start with the basics. Learn how to use Office, Word, Excel, PowerPoint. Learn the basics. Learn how to switch on a computer and switch it off, or create a document and print it, and then take it from there. And then go online. I mean, YouTube is awesome. There's so many free tutorials and people online just teaching you how to do just from the basics to very complicated stuff. So have the passion to learn, and you'll learn a lot from there.
Brilliant. John, anything from your side, closing comments? Just
well, I had one question, but I'll just quickly. So with the integration between Google Classroom and OneNote, it's very interesting. I never actually knew that existed. But
yes.
do you have like a blog post or that, or anything like that you can share with us?
On my website, I'll have a lot, but it won't be anything Google. I haven't used Google for a while because I've been so involved with Microsoft Teams in our school. So, but you're welcome to contact me anytime, and we can chat about it. I'll show you where to find it.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Brilliant, everybody. I'm going to jump in there. Jean, thank you so much. It's great seeing the face behind Oni's and Teacher live and on stage, and amazing that you partnered with Snaplify and doing some incredible work with them. Then Matthew, I have to admit, for those of the live attendees that don't know, we have a block of discussion topics where you can jump on.
Okay.
So you can find,
yes.
And Matthew asked the best question ever. He made a statement. Should pineapple be allowed on pizza? So we have set up a poll. If you want to jump in on that poll, on the right of your screen or below if you're on mobile. So far we have got 20 answers, and yes for pineapple on pizza is winning. So Matthew.
Oh yeah.
May not be able to access the platform due to some kind of food poisoning you're going to get by eating pineapple on pizza, all of you out there.
How do we block? Can we block this? Who is this woman? Just block her.
Thank you, Matthew. Thank you so much for taking the time, jumping in on this opportunity. This will likely not be the last time we see Matthew Haynes on Schoolscape.
Thank you, guys.
It's great to have you today.
And thank you, Jean.
Thanks a lot. I appreciate it. Thanks, guys. Cheers, eh?
Cheers, eh?
Right, leading into our next insert for today, we're excited to say that we have got some of the leading sort of industry experts in different areas that are approaching digital transformation, learner engagement, all these kind of buzzwords and topics. And especially, I would say our first one speaking today is someone that really can tackle sort of the confusion around all the hype at the moment. So for IR, VR, next-gen technology. I think that when these words start going on, your teacher's brain starts to rattle slightly in the Twitch approaches. But we have Rajesh from Resolute Robotics here today, and Rajesh is going to speak to us about some of these buzzwords, but really he's going to approach for everyone. Where do we start? Where do we begin in our schools? We know that this is exciting and everyone wants to take it on, and there's a lot of you out there that are teachers that are passionate about bringing technology into the classroom. But where do we start, Rajesh? Over to you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Everyone can hear me?
Yes.
Good. Cool. Thank you so much, guys, for having me. I am very glad to be an expert in this field and I'm very excited to chat about it as well. And yeah, so thank you for joining this panel discussion. I think I have a couple of slides I want to share, but just before we get started, I'm by no means an expert. I'm actually the founder of Resolute Robotics, and we kickstarted robotics and coding programs at schools about 3 years ago, and it's picked up incredibly. So we're in over 25 schools across South Africa with over 1,000 students on our database. And I think every day we're learning new things. So what I am going to share with you is based on our findings and what we think really works at schools and our journey with them. So yeah, so my name is Rajesh. I essentially studied electronic engineering at Tuckies, and having an incredible passion for education, I kind of combined the two, and that's where robotics came about. So the whole concept of 4IR, there's a massive buzz around it. It creates a lot of hype. It also creates a lot of excitement and anxiety in people. I mean, countries all worldwide are trying to implement 4IR in almost every single industry. And what does that look like in the education system in South Africa? It translates to robotics and coding. So with the government announcing the national rollout, a national rollout for the robotics and coding in schools, schools are actually trying to navigate their way through the space and implement programs that are actually a bit sustainable, long-term, and also cost-effective. And because of the hype, there's a lot of schools specifically spending a lot of money in robotics. We're looking to the millions of Go Labs and maker spaces and buying kits. And there's a lot of schools that actually are extremely nervous and feel overwhelmed, and so are struggling to get the ball rolling. So to start off with, I have essentially 5-6 slides just to take you guys through it, but I just want to paint a picture of there's a difference between robotics and coding. Robotics is essentially, in essence, a hardware and a software component coming together. That's what we call robotics. It's usually an engineering project. The bot, the robot, or the drone, or whatever that you're using is the human body, whereas the code is the instructions that get it to move. Whereas coding is very much in the field of computer sciences. Although coding is part of robotics, it's not vice versa, whereas coding specifically focuses on computer sciences, so software, app, and web development. So how do we get this going? So let me quickly share my screen. Cool. I am going to guess everyone can see my screen. So firstly, if we look at coding, which is in the computer science space, we have everything from the foundation phase to the FET phase. Scratch, essentially, which is your block-based coding. There's a lot of new softwares out there, is the most critical place to start. It teaches students logical thinking, which essentially serves them extremely well when we go into high school, and logical thinking there as well. So then we go into the intermediate phase. So that is Scratch. So in the intermediate phase, we want to go into Python. So from intermediate senior phase into the FET phase, Python is such a popular language worldwide. You can literally use Python for website development, game development, data sciences, where the big data movement towards 4IR is coming from. It's absolutely critical. And so Python, what the transition from a block-based coding to a text-based language looks is something like this. I mean, if you look at an example, kids are starting off with, when started, drive the car forward, turn right, print hello. And in terms of code, this is how it translates. And this is not really the Python syntax, but there are tons of coding programs. If you're able to master one, it should be easy to catch on to the others. So schools need to focus, once you've started on the block-based coding, to move into a more text-based coding space as well. So moving on, and then you get the whole world from the senior to the FET phase, where you get into HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, where you can look at building websites, as well as a lot of app development and stuff like that. So this is an extremely very brief. I'm missing a lot of software programming languages, but on a high level, for a school who's starting off, start off with block-based coding, move on to something that's text-based, and then look at your specialized fields, which really gets kids going. Now, the same applies for robotics as well. So robotics, as I said, engineering has a hardware and a software aspect for it. So when it comes to the foundation phases, the intermediate phase, so from grade 1 to 6, you're looking at bots, right? So you're looking at an actual bot or a drone that you can have in class, and you give it a set of instructions using the block-based coding that you've learned in coding, and you actually try to get these things to do extremely cool things. So here's your Spherable. An example is an MBot. You get your microbits, which is actually extremely cost effective, as well as your Lego EV3s. And why these are extremely popular for kids is, if you look at the age group of kids from grade 1 to 6, they love something that's toy-based, that still has that aspect of excitement. So programming it on your iPads and stuff like that, it's exciting. These things do really cool stuff, and it gets started. And that's the journey you want to start them off. But when they get to senior phase and FET phase, there's only so much of block-based coding that you can do. Kids want to get hands-on as well, and that's the practical side of things. So moving into the senior and the FET phase, something Resolute really focuses on is also using electronic circuits to build key projects. So now you're actually building these bots that you see here, but you're actually building it from scratch using the electronic components. And with these kind of skills, you're going into your engineering field, you're learning how to tinker, and you're building custom built projects such as smart garden, home automation system. You can get into bioengineering as well as biomedical. So a lot of opportunities for kids. So schools looking to implement something like this, start off with your bot-based coding, but transition into something that kids can start to build hands-on. And this is a lot of the schools have requested this as well. So this is a nice journey going across. So when you mix the two, when a school looks at starting off, start off with your block-based coding from grade 1 to 6, have a robot or a drone that is block-based coding friendly and that you can get started off. Move over to Python so that they can build some games and do some web designs. You also get some robots and drones that allow in the IDE that allows you to do text-based coding as well. So when you do buy robots and drones, make sure that the IDE that comes with it is not just block-based coding. It also allows text-based coding like JavaScript. And once you're done with that, you move into more specialized software courses, as well as your electronic kits where you can build something from scratch. So all the people that want to be the next Elon Musk, this is where you get started. And your 3D printing, the design aspect also starts to come in grade 4 and 5, where you want to start designing your own car and your own projects. And that's where 3D printing concepts come. So I hope this kind of paints on a very high level, an idea of how to get started. There are tons of software out there. Contact us. I mean, we're happy to just project consult with you guys, recommend some exciting companies in the space that do this, and let's get you started. And then one more important thing is the cost. So when you're looking at coding courses, I mean, you can look at anything as a yearly license that starts off at 125 Rand to 600 Rand per annum per student, which gives you access to a whole bunch of coding courses. For grade 1 to 7, you're looking at some robots and drones that can start as low as 500 Rand for a microbit and go all the way to 9,000 Rand for the new Spike Lego kits as well, which is quite expensive. And then if you're looking at your robotics, electrical engineering kits, like those things that you can build from scratch, you can start off with 1,000 Rand and get it all the way to 3,500 Rand. You can source the kits from certain components. I mean, that's where we specialize at, or you can go get the kits at your neighboring electronic shops as well. And then your 3D printers are standard. It's just 5,000 Rand to 25,000 Rand per printer. So if you on average have 100 kids at the school, right? I mean, if you're charging 200 Rand per annum for a coding course, you're looking at about 20,000 Rand per annum, and that could be applied from grade 1 to 12. In terms of your robots, let's on average assume that you're spending 3,000 Rand on a kit. If a school buys a kit for a child and it's a once-off cost, you're looking at an upfront cost of 300,000. If you're sharing it with 2 kids, it goes to 150. And if you're sharing it with 4 kids, it drops all the way to 75,000 Rand. And how does that look like per annum? I think for schools, per 100 students, you're looking at about 3,200 Rand per annum. Then each kid gets a kit every single year that he can take home. You're looking at 1,700 Rand if the school wants to own it and share it every year, as well as 950 Rand per annum. So one of the biggest things, schools who want to start off projects like this, if you're in it's not just the independent, we've had a lot of government schools that's signed up as an in-curriculum provider, as well as after-school clubs. I think get started. And if you're a school that's not in a position to invest money like this, reach out to us. We have a lot of potential funders and partners who would love to get your school started as well. So the opportunity is endless. And with that, I will stop. That was perfect timing.
Without me really chipping in, we have posted a poll, which I'd like to encourage everyone to go and to answer. If you want to know, if you have the passion for starting the journey of incorporating robotics and coding into your schools, but you're not sure where to begin, we have posted a poll that asks if you would like to have a conversation with Rajesh or Jonathan from Resolute Robotics. Please do indicate that you would like to, and they will connect with you. And we're really excited to have amazing companies like this moving these things forward in schools, and having them be able to come alongside us and help us look at those pricing that can make it accessible to schools, even schools that don't necessarily have huge budgets to spend. So thank you, Rajesh. It's always good to have you on Schoolscape Premier, and we'll see you again shortly, I am sure.
Tomorrow, Lions Den. See you guys. Cheers.
Brilliant.
Well,
Rajesh, thank you also just for your heart of just helping out schools that might not have budget. I think that's something big, and that's something awesome. So thank you. Just before Ash invites the next speaker on, I just have to do a quick comedy interlude. Should pineapple be allowed on pizza? 73% of people say yes. 73. Ashley, and that includes your vote on the no side. Debate over. Next
debate
speaker.
over. Next speaker, we will be carrying on swiftly. One thing I wanted to quickly say is we have 2 more speakers in the industry expert side of things. We have Dell to follow, and then EduTech Institute. And then we have the very wonderful Rian Shruta himself, who's going to do some quick, to the point inspiration on his birthday. So I want to see all of our wonderful educators out there that when he comes online in 10 minutes or so, can we have you all very much celebrate and excited about his birthday. But right now we have the Dell team with us. Hello, Pamela. Hello, Jonathan. We're excited to have you here today. I mean, Dell's a great supporter of Schoolscape events and a great supporter of education in South Africa. So yeah, it's always a privilege to have you with us. We have been chatting a lot about what Dell does, but Pamela's going to present on some add-ons today that are super excited. We talk a lot about devices and that, but we know as educators, there's a lot more that comes with managing devices in a classroom. So I'm going to hand over to Jonathan, Pamela, and you guys can take it away.
So firstly, thank you to Schoolscapes. Listening to the last few sessions, it's a little bit difficult to have a winning session after Mala's chat, Matthew's and Rajesh's. I think innovation in education has drastically accelerated over the last year and a half, and Schoolscapes and Dell and DG, which is Digital Generation, a Dell Titanium partner of Dell's. We've been in discussions with Schoolscapes for the last few years, and it's good to see that the ideas and thoughts that we had a few years ago are actually coming into play. So it's quite exciting. Jonathan is a part of our team. He's a critical part in driving the technology and taking it to market. So he'll be on the chat answering any questions if you have any. So feel free to ask the questions that you have. I'm going to cover collaboration solutions for education today. And I'm not going to touch too much on what's happening around education, because every speaker thus far has showcased how it's evolving and the rate it's evolving, the pace it's evolving. So there's a growing awareness among educators and families that today's curriculum needs to evolve. It needs to meet tomorrow's reality. Beyond tools and technologies, students also need to develop the new skills to solve tough problems, right? So we've got a range of products in our portfolio, which is called the Dell Interactive Monitors. And this offers amazing image quality, cutting edge collaboration, features that engage students like never before. Our intuitive design works like a touch-enabled tablet or a two-in-one device and does not require special software or collaboration. So we're going to talk quickly through on how upgrading your classroom displays can improve productivity for teachers, make lessons more impactful for students, and reduce maintenance within the IT side of managing classrooms and the sites. Keep your students engaged with a 55-inch, a 70-inch, or a 75-inch, or an 86-inch touch display. And this is designed to make content easier to read. It's there while enabling powerful collaboration that can boost learning outcomes. And this is what we're trying to drive. We need to have a solution in a space where there's annotations that can be saved and shared with students in a remote classroom or in a classroom for that matter, intuitive designs that takes the familiar experience of using a touch-enabled device to the big screen. And because there's no learning curve or training required, students and educators can easily get started. And I'll touch a little bit on that later on. But it is based on collaboration. It is about lesson capturing and sharing that information and making sure that the users or your students understand the content that you are trying to share. It's also inclusive for all and exclusive to Dell. So we have a really cool technology that's built into our large monitors, and this improves the reachability. I'm short, pretty short, so this works fine for me, where the actual screen can be dropped to accommodate 3 different height settings. And this provides more of an ergonomic and an inclusiveness in a classroom environment. We have to accommodate everyone's greatness and everyone's shortfalls. For me, example, it's definitely a shortfall being short. So the product is our products are being built to understand the needs in a classroom and ensure that the ergonomics of our product accommodate the different types of students that you might have in your environment. Okay. So what does this mean? The collaboration, we've got touch displays that can help students retain learning content. And this is by empowering the educators to make the lessons a lot more interactive, a lot more engaging, and a lot more collaborative. The design, as I mentioned, it's using touch capabilities to the big screen. There's no learning curve or training that's required. The capturing and the sharing, educators and students can now annotate over applications or use display as a virtual whiteboard. Annotations can then be saved and shared with students, which is also great, in the classroom or remotely, in real time using the included collaboration software that we have as an offering, which could be Flatfrog Board or other third-party options like MS Teams and Zoom for classrooms. So our products are Zoom capable and they're Intel Unite capable. They have Google for Education, Microsoft Teams that's also included. Inclusive for all, I've touched on that. So that's basically the drop, which is the world's first accessibility feature. It improves the reachability for students working from different heights or with limited mobility. Buttons at the side of the panel enable end users to lower the displayed image to 3 different heights, as I mentioned, and this feature is available on Dell 4K interactive touch monitors, which is really great. Okay, all in one. This is the technology that can go as an additional or an add-on onto the device, which is an Optiplex micro PC. This can be inserted into the integrated PC slot, which is on the right backhand of the device. This PC slot is available on a 55-inch device, a 75-inch device, an 86-inch, and a 70-inch, which then creates a complete all-in-one solution. It literally allows you to have everything in one place, which makes it easier for educators and students to share without actually physically connecting their personal devices. You're also able to lock it down, so prevent accidental shutdown of settings and changes with the lock mode. It's available on all the series of our large monitors, and this allows IT administrators to control the menu and the power options. Wireless presentations, students and teachers can present right from their devices using a variety of optional wireless presentation solutions from our trusted partners. We find a wireless solution that works for you, works for your environment, works for your network within your schooling environment. And then distance learning, whether it's creating an inclusive learning experience for remote learners or bringing field trips into the classroom. I'm sure kids out there are missing field trips, and I'm sure the teachers are also missing a lot of the field trips that traditionally happen. But Dell makes it easy to collaborate over distance with third-party camera solutions that deliver a world of learning to students. Okay. So the collaborative education solution consists of ScreenBeam 1000 Edu display receiver with ScreenBeam central management system and ScreenBeam.
Sorry, just so you're aware, you've got a minute left.
Wow. Okay, I'll try my best to get through this. So this is basically what the setup would look like. These are the optional accessories, mounting brackets, including the distance learning. What I am going to touch on next, I'm going to try and do this in 1 minute. So we have the convenience of charging cards, and the charging cards that we have is literally a 36 unit charging cart. If your school isn't using mobile devices in the classroom, chances are it is going to be, and you'd need a place to charge, to store, to securely update users' devices through the network capabilities that come with these charging cards. These hold 36 USB-C devices between classrooms, labs, and libraries. This is network capable, and just to give you some sort of indication of how it looks when it's broken down to a technical level, it also has cable management, and we're able to secure the charging cards when required. It also has directional locks on rear wheels. I'm assuming my minute is up. If it is, thank you for your time. If you have any questions, please reach out to ourselves or Ashley and Anneke at Schoolscapes, and we welcome any questions or queries after that. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Pam. Thank you so much to the Dell team. We know that you're working hard to provide amazing technology in education that enables such great teaching in the classroom. So thank you very much for that. If you want to connect with Dell, please do so. You'll see there is a expo booth called Digital Generation. They are one of their titanium partners, and Michelle and their team will connect you either directly to Pam and Jonathan. Jonathan is Dell's tech guru, so you're going to hear from him tomorrow. But yeah, so if you want to connect with any of these products or more information of any of these products, please go and connect through the Digital Generation booth. And you can ask questions there or ask someone to get a hold of you there. And yeah, that'd be great. Thanks, Pam.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Last industry expert that we have today is Dolan from EduTech Institute. Dolan, they have developed incredible software that is both personalized and adaptive kind of AI learning software that is so brilliant. I can just, through chatting to Dolan yesterday, he was explaining to me as a parent how transparent it is, how I can see what the kids are doing, how the teacher can see what the kids are doing, how we can then sort of collaborate on progressing our children forward. So I'm going to let Dolan talk now. He can explain to you more adequately. But yeah, this is incredible technology, and we're really excited about having Dolan and his team here to just present on some of that. So Dolan, you can jump on your camera.
Hello, Ashley. Yes, I don't know why my camera has been working the whole day, but for some reason it's not coming on now. But that doesn't matter. I'll continue. If not, we're going to waste time. All right. Thank you for your time. I really appreciate it, and I'm looking forward to speaking today to the audience. Hello, everyone. Yeah. So just to put some context into it, is that you know what, I've been there, done that. I always had this passion of understanding, you know, why do we need to learn certain subjects? And I think it was only in my first year of university where I realized that, you know what, you actually need maths to problem solve, you know. And today's topic is how to actually engage learners, you know. But the thing is, we've got to ask ourselves, the question is, why do they become disengaged, you know? So some of the points that I'll just put down together here is that, you know, they don't understand a topic completely, or they understand bits and pieces of it. The questions are too difficult at their learning level. Pace of learning is too fast or too slow. Their style of learning is different from others, and not enough support that they get from their parents or teachers. Okay, and this is eventually what leads to misconceptions, learning gaps that actually disengage the students. The saddest part, I think, for me, is that if a child wants to become a doctor or an engineer or any of these STEM professions that require certain subjects, you know, only to realize, oh, I didn't perform well at a certain subject, for maths, for example, or science, or English for that matter. So what we've done is that we've partnered with a company called Educational Initiatives, which is the world's largest educational research. You know, all our platforms are built based on 20 years of academic research, and we've studied how children learn. You know, we've done over 10 million sort of diagnostic tests in the space, and we've partnered with over 10,000 schools globally. So in terms of data, we have a lot of data, and a lot of our platforms are built on technology and research, you know, and one of them is personalized adaptive learning, customized for each and every single child that uses our technology. We're using the use of artificial intelligence, big data, deep learning, etc. And our pedagogical research has been covering over 10 million students across the globe and building intelligence of over 5 billion data points on concepts and effective learning. So when it comes to children's misconceptions, we understand it. We know why this child doesn't understand a particular topic in a particular subject. And this is the data that we have over the last 2 years. So we're not just selling you a product it's not about the product, it's about actually having the effectiveness of that child actually making the improvement in their lives and giving them that confidence. So we are able to design and deliver content in forms of questions, activities, games, videos that engage students and improve their learning levels and provide explanations, feedbacks, learning input. It actually acts as a personalized tutor for that child as well. And a lot of parents, you know, they're paying they're paying school fees for the child, plus if they're not doing well in a certain subject, they still have to send them for extra tuitions. But our software will be able to help you and adapt the way your child learns and help fix those learning gaps. And one of our mission as an EduTech Institute and Educational Initiative is to continuously improve the science of learning. Okay, and that's what makes us so unique compared to everybody outside this space, because we provide a repository of data and techniques that can be used by teachers to help children learn better. A big improvement over today's situation is where teachers struggle alone to help students learn. Because let's be honest about this. You're teaching a class of whether it's 15 students, 20 students, 30 students. It's very difficult for you to understand where a child is at and where their learning levels are at, because there's no heterogeneity in the class, you know, and teachers know this. So we are able to bring and understand where the misconceptions are, the common student errors, the strengths of this child, the weakness, go down to a remedial part to see where the child is in the lower levels, and the system starts to, the technology starts to fix all these learning gaps and misconceptions. So we are able to do this with a technology called MindSpark. Okay, it's built on a patented learning system and method to use questions adaptively. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a quick video just to explain to you how this software works. It's just a quick.
any school teacher would agree that managing a class is a balancing act. Like that wobbly table that refuses to even out. When you try and level one end, the other falls short. Now imagine a whole classroom and balancing them all at once. It's no wonder a teacher's job is the hardest there is. Let's look at an ordinary math class in action. Tara's table is the highest and the steadiest. Danish's table is upside down. Mia's table is only slightly comfortable. Oliver's table is pretty much broken. And since Luke was absent all of last week, he doesn't even have a table. They're studying algebra. Of course, the tables here are a metaphor for learning. Luke needs to start the chapter from the beginning. Oliver needs to relearn some key concepts. Mia needs more practice. Danish obviously needs more time. And, well, Tara is doing just fine. How can one teacher do all that in one period? We have a solution, presenting MindSpark, a transformative math learning program that offers the class teacher a balancing act. MindSpark works individually with each student to build on their knowledge through interesting math problems and games. And it uses its intuitive AI technology to analyze the learning requirement of each student and automatically responds with a personalized path. MindSpark empowers the students with unlimited practice questions to remove any misconceptions and gaps in knowledge that a student may have. This way, the teacher can spend their time on more urgent matters, while a simple dashboard puts other teaching tasks at ease.
MindSpark encourages long-term achievement and confidence in the student's own capabilities with a fun interactive interface and reward.
Okay, yeah, so that was my video. I'm just going to finish off my slide here. And
awesome, Dolan, you have 1 minute so you are aware.
Okay, great. So yeah, so that's how the video is. And this is the interface. That was MindSpark explaining to you the overview of the product. This is the user, the student interface. You can see it has topics, homework, games. You can unlock games as well, so it engages the students. So the more they advance in topics, it'll unlock games and it'll engage them and make sure that they solidify the concepts that they're learning. And then what we're launching now is a parent app. A parent will also be able to monitor the child's progress. And we also have a teacher interface, which has always been there, where the teacher can see, okay, look, how long has the child spent on topics, how long have they, where they're going wrong with their topics or questions, and how can the teacher help them. The teacher will be able to activate topics, etc., etc. And then this is the back-end technology of the personalized adaptive part of MindSpark. You can see every child is learning the topic of fractions, but everyone has answered different number of questions. It took them a different time, but the point is all of them completed that topic of fractions. It didn't matter how long or how short it took them, but they managed to clear the concept and move to the next topic. And you can see, as you see, the personalized adaptive learning flow works according to each child, according to their learning abilities. Thank you very much, Aneka and Peter. Yeah, that's it for me. If you have any questions, this is my contact details, and you can visit me at the booth, the EduTech Institute booth. Thank you so much.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we've also posted a poll. So if you're excited about what Dolan's talking about as a teacher and that you think this could be beneficial for you in your classroom, please, tick yes on that poll, and we will connect you with Dolan to pick up this conversation further. Last up today, we have the
Before we get to Rian, because he is our last 10-minute inspirational speaker, and after him, you won't want to hear from us again because he is that inspirational. So just 3 quick things. If you would like to earn 6 points for 1 day, it is 10 points. For 2 days or more, it is 20 points. So what you can do is we will be sharing a link that you can click on, fill in your details, and our partners get 6 points, will then load it for you. They're going to take all the effort out for you. So we will share that link for you. Second thing, we have a passport competition. There's about 20 incredible companies that are supporting the events. If you visit 8 of them, just 8, and you like them, you comment or ask them a question into their deals and offers, you go into our prize, and for one of you, that's going to be 9,000 rands worth of PPM equipment for your classroom. So that's kind of interactive stuff.
Visualizers,
absolutely.
Document cameras.
Yeah.
It's all in there.
It's all in there. And in fact, PPM is sponsoring all of our inspirational talks. They just want to have an impact in your classroom. So they're offering an incredible price. So please go visit 8 exhibitors. And then last point, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow, our afternoon session. We've got the head of innovation at Eton College in the UK. So that's good old Prince Harry School. He's been in the media a little bit, but they are an institution that is pretty phenomenal. So that's just giving you the info for tomorrow, but I actually want to intro the birthday boy.
Awesome. Without fail, I can intro Rian. I think I've known Rian for a few years now, but Rian is someone I think that carries the heart of education in South Africa just so well into so many. So Rian, he's our inspirational speaker, but he's a real inspiration. It's an inspiration just to know him, all his quirks and jokes, but they don't ever get old. And today, we also really just celebrate you as a person, the impact you've had in our country and in education. And yeah, it's an absolute pleasure to have you always. So here's Rian. We're going to hand over the floor to him. He can sing himself happy birthday. We won't put Rian or you through that. But Rian, you have 10 minutes to wow and inspire as you always do.
Happy birthday, Rian.
Thank you, Ashley and Pete. I always get so nervous when people set me up to fail like that. Inspiration in 10 minutes and stuff like that. Will be try our best. But I've seen from the previous speakers, I think I need that charging card for myself. Not to charge devices, but just some days to get to this card and just plug myself in and get on the go again. Maybe you can make a lot of more money and get a plug-in card for staff when they walk into the staff room each morning. Just charge yourself before you go outside. So let's go on before the time start up, and I'm going to put on a timer here so that I can watch myself in time. I want to talk this afternoon about role models. I've read a book during this lockdown time by Nancy Kuhn, and she wrote the book Forge in Crisis. And in this book, it's all about leadership. And she said the following: what organizations or even schools need now more than ever is real leaders. And I think I want to change the real leaders to real role models, because a lot of people think I'm not a leader, it's only the principal, it's only the CEO, don't talk to me, I don't know nothing. And that's a complete lot of nonsense, and we can talk about that on another time, on another day. So I think we need role models. So if there ever was a time for real role models to put up their hand and say, listen, I'm here, I'm a role model, look at me, I'm going to do stuff, it's now. I read in the paper, yeah, I can read at my age. I read in the paper about a principal somewhere along our coastline, and there was a student teacher who pitched up to the school, but the student teacher had a different hairstyle than mine. He had a little bit, we called them the olden days, long time, we had a top deck, dark down there and white on the top. And he dyed his hair, and suddenly this principal realized here's an alien guy in my school. And he said to this guy, out of my school, out, this is not Boswell Wilkie Circus. In this school, people wear a tie. And because I wear a tie, and I expect my children also to wear a tie, because I am a role model. And that got me wondering about role models. And what do role models wear? If you don't wear a tie, you're not a role model. And if you wear a tie, you are a role model. So I was worried about that, and about dyeing hair. Probably if I had hair, I would have dyed it in different colors, not in one color. Every second week, a different color, just to keep the spices flowing and going. What about the women folk on that staff? When they dye their hair, do they also get told, go away, you're not welcome here? Go back and get that rinse out of your hair. Then you come back and you don't have a tie, but we understand that. Then you can be a role model. And now I've read a few stuff about an American principal with the name Hamish Brewer. And they call this guy the tattooed skateboarding principal. And I thought, what would happen if Hamish rocked up on his skateboard at this school? What was these two principals have to say to each other? The one would chase guys away if they dye their hair, or Hamish on his skateboard with his whole arm and everything tattooed. And Hamish got the same hairstyle. So probably afterwards, this principal, South African principal, will realize that Hamish was sort of named the principal of the year more than once in different regions of Virginia. and that he turned around a very, very difficult school to one of the top schools in America. Let me tell you, without a tie and with a tattoo all over. And he can't dye his hair because probably if he had, he would have done it. He wrote a book called Relentless, Changing Lives by Disrupting Education Norms. And that's my type of guy, disrupting all the norms. And we had a time in this 2020 to disrupt certain norms that's not applicable. But we came back in 2021 and we started again where we left off in the end of 2019. And the sad part is we forget about 2020 and we think the kids are on the same level. We forgot what happened in their lives. They probably lost some family. Their parents lost their jobs. And we say, it's okay. The curriculum, page 1, open there and start again. So I would really encourage you to have a look at my friend Hamish Brewer at www.hamishbrewer.com and see what he has done in his life. And he said this following quote, and I think it's very important. Every decision I make comes back to whether I was better for kids today. And for all the teachers out there, if you ask that question this morning, this afternoon, have you been better this day for the kids sitting in front of you? Sometimes that's a very difficult question. Normally this time of evening, if we ask, where are the red wine? Red wine. I needed to go to tomorrow. So really, Hamish Brewer is a real role model. I also read in the newspaper about a woman teacher in Springbok, that's close to my heart, that little town up in the Northern Province, where she, Northern Cape, where she slept on the floor and gave food to matriculants so that they can better their matriculation marks. And I thought, wow, that's also somebody I would say, yeah, she put up her name to be a role model. Didn't get paid anything more, but really, that is what a role model is all about. So if you wear a part-tie or not, if you dye your hair or not, when you're a role model, I'm not sure. For me, personally, a role model is a do thing. The two words in role model, role is act, and model is be somebody that children and other people, your staff, your friends can model their life on. But the first part is the most important part for me. That's the role part, that's the acting part, the doing part, going the direction, hopefully mostly forward. And there's a lot of definitions we can give about role modelship. And I've only written down 2, a person who serves as an example by influencing others, or the behavior of a role model is imitated. And I don't think the principal along the coast will be imitated. I don't see a lot of people wearing ties to church or even to weddings or wherever, but maybe to school because it's forced. So, and the other thing I've discovered with sort of looking at this topic is that children don't look at Justin Bieber as their main role model. For all the parents there, they look at you. Children say our first line of role models are our parents. And that's really scary for me. For a lot of parents don't see themselves as role models. They just see them as the parents. We are the parents. We are providing the shelter, the food, all that sort of stuff. But you are the role model. When you come to my age, you suddenly realize you look like your father and mother, you behave like them, and all what you've learned, that's the role modelship. So that's a scary part. So I thought quickly, I will give you a few, call it traits, characteristics, or what qualities that I think a role model needs. Firstly, you must walk the walk. And that is looking at your posture. You can't be a role model if you look like this. You can't be a role model if you look like a representative of some funeral home. You can't be a role model. You must walk the walk. You must be the energy that you want from your people who follows you. Secondly, talk the talk. Practice what you preach. We all know that. If you say, don't throw down a paper in the school, don't do it yourself. If smoking is bad for your habit, don't go out during break, go and make a quick smoke. You must walk your walk and talk your talk. Secondly, thirdly, build relationships. Build relationships. And I think that principle I spoke about, he missed a golden opportunity to build relationships. But especially more, he missed a teaching opportunity to get that guy together and say, listen, my man, you want to be in teaching. You are a role model. I'm not sure. Let's talk about this and whatever. Forgive mistakes. It's a never quality. We are human. Forgive mistakes. Forgive each other. We are not all perfect. We are not all wearing ties. We are skateboarding, some of us, but we may be the principal of the year. And then to be a role model, be yourself. Don't imitate other people. Don't wear an earring before you think, okay, that would be cool. Don't skateboard if you can't skateboard. Be yourself. That is one of the best qualities of a real role model. And then try and build trust. Try and build trust. Okay, let's rock and roll. My real role model example of the day, his name is John Stephen Aquari. And I must be quick now. John Stephen Aquari, and you can go and look on internet. There's more written about John Stephen Aquari than the guy who won that race. And now you must realize he didn't win the race. No, he came so very last that they couldn't get his time with the stopwatch. They had to get a calendar out and go through January, February, March, July. It sounds like that, District 6 song. And they got him. No, not that long. It was an hour behind the last guy, the second last guy. And on his way, he fell. He was a marathon athlete, one of three of Tanzania in the 1968 Olympic Games in Mexico. And as he fell, he dislocated his shoulder and he got a bruise and a cut on his leg. And I always tell children, if that happens to a lot of our children today, they would just fake an injury and say, ek is beseer meneer. I can't go any further. And they would go into the first Pick and Pay and go into the front door and disappear at the back door. But he finished. He finished. And when they asked him, why did you finish this? Why didn't you give up? You were hurt very bad. Why did you say, enough is enough? I'm not going to finish. He said, my country, and please listen carefully, I'm going to say this very slowly. My country did not send me 5,000 miles to Mexico City to start the race. My country sent me 5,000 miles to Mexico City to end and finish the race. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, that's a role model. What you start, you finish. Even if you fell, if you couldn't, you lost, so very lost, you don't want to be there. You finish the race. Another one of my icons and role models died last year, Sir Ken Robinson. And I want to finish with this quote from Sir Ken Robinson. He said, our task, parents, teachers, role models, is to educate their whole being so that they can face the future. We may not see the future, but they will, and our job is to help them make something of that. Oh, that's so strong. Our task is to educate their whole being, not only one part of their being, but their whole being. And we won't see it, but probably they will be better role models than we have been in our lives. I want to thank you for listening, Pete and Ashley, and all the birthday wishes. Like normally birthday wishes don't help anything. Cash is much better. Cash is much better. So next time, instead of birthday wishes, cash. Thanks for listening, watching. It was a privilege being with you this afternoon, and a great day today at Schoolscape, the first day. Thanks, Pete. Thanks, Ashley. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I'm going to have a red wine on myself now.
Rian, that cash, I've sent it by the postal office. So I'm sure your present of cash will arrive soon. But Rian, happy birthday. Thank you. I know for a lot of the schools out there, last year was a tougher than usual school. But just what he said about, I think, just to echo what Rian said, the impact teachers have in this generation and in future generations is incredible. Those little kids in your class are the future presidents, the future leaders of this country. So to all the teachers out there, thank you for running the race. Thank you for being a teacher or being at a role in a school. We value what you do. You're having an incredible impact. So keep running that race, as Rian says. And thank you, Rian.
Bye.
Over and out. Ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to an end. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Tomorrow's afternoon session, we've got Eton College presenting. And then after that, we've got the Lions Den pitch. So we've got 7 companies that are going to try and win your attention, and we're going to make it a bit fun. We're going to thumb them up, thumb them down, and we're going to get them up. Then we're not getting into trouble. But thank you for also engaging. And we've got a 1,000 Rand Take-A-Lot voucher to give away from Sonic Wall. And this prize goes to someone that has been involved in the chapter topics, in discussion topics and all over the place. So would you like to announce it?
Yes, so thank you, Lanka Pool from Renish College, Renish Primary, I can't say that, I'm in Stellenbosch, Renish Primary. Yeah, enjoy your 1,000 Rand Take-A-Lot voucher. And again, that Take-A-Lot voucher comes from Sonic Wall. Sonic Wall is a major sponsor of this event. They are one of the sponsors that make this event happen and make it that we can keep it free for schools. So we never want to charge a school. So we have wonderful partners like Sonic Wall. Please visit them if you need cybersecurity or you have security sort of concerns at your school. Please go over to Sonic Wall's booth and connect with Ashley and the team there.
Brilliant. Then, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to put out that link again, just if you would like to get your SACE points registered. And thank you. We appreciate you taking the time out. We still have, I think, about 100 spaces available for tomorrow's session. So if you want other people to jump on, they can still jump on. For those that are joining us tomorrow morning, we'll see you at 9:30. Otherwise, for those joining the afternoon session, we will see you at 3 p.m. Thank you, everybody.
Awesome. Have a good evening, and we'll see you tomorrow.